Hello YouTube, this is Largo64. Some time ago I did a video called A Few Verses from the God of Love, juxtaposing some of the actions of God with the verse in 1 John 4:16 that says God is love. Love itself. I have a few more here I wanted to share with you. Just a kind of a recapitulation. Not really, no, these are different ones. Beginning in 2 Samuel 6, verses 6 through 7. It's in the King James Version in this case. Verse 6, and when they came to Vashon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God, that's the ark of the covenant, and took hold of it to steady it, for the oxen shook it. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. First Chronicles tells the same story, chapter 13, verses 9 through 10. Verse 9, and when they came unto the threshing floor of Chidon, Uzzah put forth his hand to hold the ark, for the oxen stumbled. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and he smote him because he put his hand to the ark, and there he died before God. Now, elsewhere in the Bible, it says that God looks on the heart. He knows what's in your mind and how you feel about things. But apparently, he wasn't looking on this particular day. He was pissed off about something else, maybe. So Uzzah was merely trying to keep the ark from falling when the oxen stumbled. In spite of his good intentions, God murdered him right then and there. But God is love. Now, 2 Samuel 12, verses 13 through 18. This is in the New International Version, the NIV. Verse 13, then David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. Nathan replied, the Lord has taken away your sin. You are not going to die. Verse 14, but because by doing this, that's killing Uriah the Hittite in order to have his wife Bathsheba, you have made the enemies of the Lord show utter contempt. The son born unto you will die. Now, verse 15, after Nathan had gone home, the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife had borne David, and he became ill. Verse 16, David pleaded with God for the child. He fasted and went into his house and spent the nights lying on the ground. Verse 17, the elders of his household stood beside him to get him up from the ground, but he refused, and he would not eat any food with them. Verse 18, on the seventh day the child died. David's servants were afraid to tell him the child was dead, for they thought, while the child was still living, we spoke to David, but he would not listen to us. How can we tell him the child is dead? He may do something desperate. So because God was angry with David, he murdered David's baby, after letting it suffer for 7 days. What the hell? The baby was just more human property of God's, right? I mean, he doesn't owe it anything, so just murder it. But God is love. Now in 2 Kings 2, verses 23 and 24, again from the King James Version. Verse 23, and he, that's Elisha, went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them. Now, this one's a Lulu, because children behaved like children and dared to mock a prophet, of course not knowing who he was. Elisha cursed them, taking, as it would seem, the Lord's name in vain. But the Lord honored the curse and caused 42 children to be torn to pieces by wild beasts. Looks like God really hates children, doesn't it? For behaving as children might be expected to behave, God didn't cause them to be punished by their parents. Instead, he had them torn to pieces by wild animals. Once again, mere children of no interest to God, unless he could get the entertainment of watching them scream as they be torn to pieces. but God is love. Now that's enough of that. This is a really brief one. It's half as long as most of mine. I'm going to let that one go now, and I'll wait for your comments. I'm sure I'll have some angry comments from a few people. This is what happened before. Bye now.